Alright, welcome to tutorial number 6, creating line types. In the last tutorial we talked about line types and we showed you how to load them. Now I'm going to try to explain to you how to actually create new ones. So let's go back to our line type manager, type L type, and we're going to go back to load and to the file here. And it automatically, like I said before, goes to where your current line types are stored. And we're going to right click on the acad.lin and we're going to open it with Notepad. It's a .lin file, but you can view it in Notepad. So let me make this a little bit bigger here. And this is where all of your line types are stored. Well, some of your line types are stored. Like we saw in the last tutorial, there are other line types that you can see, but in here is where the main line types are stored. And no matter what version of Autocad you have, all the line types are stored in acad.lin. At the very beginning, it has some basic line types. And so let's look at those quickly here. Each line type has 2 lines, and the first thing is a asterisk and then the word border. So that tells me the name of this line type is border. And then a comma, and it says border, and then it shows you what that line type looks like. So this part right here is the actual description. So when it loads up into your line type manager, it says border, and then the description is border, and then it looks like this. Okay, the next line is actually the code used to create the line type. And so it always starts with a, comma, and then it has a series of numbers. So 0.5, it's a positive number, so that tells me that we're starting a dash, and that dash will be a length of 0.5. And then a comma, and then a negative 0.25. That means that there is a gap for a negative 0.25 length. Another comma, 0.5. So another dash for 0.5, a comma, and negative 0.25. So another gap for negative 0.25, a comma, and then a 0, which creates a dot. It's a dash with a 0 length, so it creates a dot. And then another comma and a negative 0.25 for another gap of that length. So that's a simple line type, and that's pretty simple as to how you create dashes and dots and gaps in a line type. So it has many different ones with different codes that you have all loaded. And then you keep going down and we get to the complex line type. And these line types use shape, and they use text. So this first one is a fence line, and its name is fence line 1, and then description is fence line circle, and that's what it should look like. It has a dash of 0.25, a gap of 0.1, and then it has a circle. And this is telling you right here that in this file, L-type SHP for line type shape.shx, which is shape file, this is the shape we're looking for. So circ1, we want that shape that's stored in that file, and we're going to offset it horizontally by negative 0.1. We're going to scale it by 0.1, and that's how we're going to change that shape just a little bit. And then after that shape, we're going to have a gap for 0.1 and then a dash of 1. So that's kind of the way the code goes. And then there's another one down here I want to show you that is with text. So this one we drew in the last tutorial, the gas line. Okay, so that's the name, is gas line, is the name of the line type, and this is the description, gas line, and that's what it looks like. And so we have a dash of 0.5, a gap of negative 0.2, and then in brackets we have text, and you put in parentheses what text you want in the line. You put in quotation marks. I think I just said parentheses, but I meant quotation marks. We want the text gas. And then a comma. And here, this is the font, or the style, the text style, not the font, but the text style. We want to use standard as the text style. And we're going to have an offset, or to scale it by 0.1. I can't remember what U means. Offset the horizontally by X by -0.1 and vertically by -0.05. So that's going to tell us where the word is going to kind of fall in the line. And then after that, we're going to have a -0.25, so a gap. There's going to be a gap that precedes the gas text and a gap that follows the text. Okay? So I know it's kind of a little bit more code for you to understand, but I want you to understand how to create these because you will need them. This is not enough line types. You'll use more than that. Your company may already have their own, and if they do, that's great. And they may have already created them, so you don't have to worry about them. But out of the box, Civil 3D doesn't have all the ones that my company uses. So I'm going to have to create some. Then under here, it says user-defined line types, and this is where you can put line types that you create. And notice that if the line starts with 2 semicolons here, this is not used by the file. So don't put those in. You could actually put those there, sorry, and then type in your line type that you create. And it wouldn't be able to load them or read them until you remove the semicolon. But I was taught that when I edit this file, I should actually create a new one. But according to this little description here, it says user-defined line types. Add any line types that you define to this section of the file to ensure that they migrate properly when upgrading to a future Autocad version. If duplicate line type definitions are found in this file, items in the user-defined line type section take precedence over definitions that appear earlier in the file. So I'm going to recommend that you do put them in acad.lin right here. Don't touch any of the other ones in any of the other sections in this file. Don't mess them up. But you can add new ones down here. Okay? So that's where I'm going to recommend that you do that. Now, another note is that when you create yours, you need to be very, very specific. If one comma is missing, if one letter is off, it will not load it. So when you try to load it, it'll give you an error, and you have to come back here and scrutinize what you've done to make sure you've done it correctly and you haven't missed something. So let's go ahead and let's create one. What do I want to create? I want to create one for a water line. You can see that here we've got HW for hot water. So I want one that's similar to that, but I don't want it to say HW. I just want it to say W. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. Right click, hit copy, and I'm going to paste it down here. Okay. Now I'm just going to change this. Much easier to edit things than to start from scratch. I'm going to call it water. And I'm going to leave that like that. And I'm going to take the H out there. And H out there. And H out there. And down here, all I'm going to do is change this from HW to W. And let's see if it works. So let's say File, Save. Okay, because I've opened it. Here, hit Cancel here. It was accessing it in here. Hit Cancel. So hit File, Save. Okay, it saved it. Now I'm going to close it. Go back to Line Type Manager. load. Now it's looking in acad.lin, and now I want to look for that water. And there it is. And so that's what it should look like. Say OK, we're going to load it. Now let's look down in our line type. And there it is. It exists. So let's create a line. And let's double click on it and change the line type to water. And let's scale it up so that we can actually see it. I'm going to change it to 200. So there it is. Now we have a water line. Alright, so there you go. That's how you create them. Watch this over and over again if you need to, or do search online in Google to see if you can't find more information on how these are created and what each little thing means if you want more information. So there you go.